All right, so we're going to talk about Chapter 5. So this is converting from one system of measurement to the other. So good thing about this chapter is a little bit review of the last two chapters, so good practice on this one as well. So we're just going to go from either metric to a household and vice versa when it comes to it. Okay, that's going to be pretty much it. And just like all the other chapters, I give you guys one of the major conversions we're going to be dealing with, right, going from one to the other, and so forth. So notice a lot of these have multiple ones to deal with. So for instance, right, you can go from 5 milliliters to 1 teaspoon. You can go from 3 teaspoons to 15 milliliters, right? It's the same thing, but it's just different proportions itself. Now, how I do by these equalities here is 1 ounce equals 2 tablespoons, 1 ounce also equals to 6 teaspoons, and 1 ounce equals 30 milliliters. So, they're all equivalents to each other when it comes. So you could pick any two, and they're going to be the same thing. And it goes down, for the first couple ones as well. Okay. The major one you're going to be dealing with throughout this entire semester is this one here. 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. Okay. That's a major when it comes, corresponding to a household and metric system itself. Okay. So we'll just try some of the questions out so you can see how this relationship is going to be about. So we're going to convert a couple. Okay. And I'll also post up a practice problems as well. So let's convert 150 kilograms to pounds. So practice problem there. Okay. So start with the given. So 150 kilograms. And we know for every 1 kilogram, there's 2.2 pounds. So this time we multiply, which gives us exactly 330 pounds. Okay. All right, let's try another one. Let's suppose we want to convert 200 milliliters to tablespoons, T. And again, just in case you guys, forgot, right, I still have them here so you can see the T's and the mLs and stuff like that. Okay, so don't stress too much about it. We'll go from milliliters to tablespoons. Okay, so let's just look and see, do we have any relationship that goes to one straight to the other itself? Okay, so we have this milliliter stuff here, right? And notice we have this one here. We know there's 15 milliliters equals 1 tablespoon, right? Remember, all three things are the same. So this to that's the same, that to that's the same, and so forth as well. Okay, so we do have a one-to-one relation, meaning I can go from milliliters straight to tablespoons. So we can do that. So starting with 200 milliliters times, now using our relationship, we know there's 15 milliliters for every 1 tablespoon. So cancel, cancel, and this time we divide and see how many tablespoons we actually get. Should be 13.33. And there's our answer. Try some more. Let's convert 3.33 quarts to, let's say, milliliters, ml. Okay. So same thing, right? We want to try to go from one to one as best we can. So let's see. We want to go to quarts all the way to milliliters, right? And hopefully you guys can see we kind of have a relationship, right, going straight from quarts all the way to milliliters. And it's actually right here, right? This is the only one we actually have quarts involved into it. So we know 1 quart equals all of these, and that's, notice at the very end it has milliliters. So 1 quart also equals 1,000 milliliters. So that's the conversion we're going to be doing here. So using 3.3 quarts times for every 1 quart, there are 1,000 milliliters. So that gives you 3,800 milliliters. And there you go. Let's try another one. Let's convert, this is a good one. Let's convert 350 centimeters to feet. All right, so let's go up here and see, do we have a relationship going from centimeters to feet? And if you guys look, we actually don't. But we have this one ratio here. 2.5 centimeters equals 1 inch. And we know we can go from inches to feet. So we have to do a multi-step process for this one, right? So we have two equivalencies here. So the first one is converting centimeters to inches. So by using our template here, we know there's 2.5 centimeters for every 1 inch. So these cancel. So this gives us inches. So 350 divided by 2.5 gives you 140 inches. And now we want to go to feet from here. So we know that conversion we did a couple times last chapters. For every 12 inches, there's 1 foot. So finally, we just divide by 12, which gives us a grand total of 11.67 feet. Okay. So I do want to try one more. So if you guys, run out of space here, I'm going to do it on a separate sheet of paper. So I'll leave this there for you guys to see. We'll do one more. I think that was E here. Okay. So E is, let's convert 10.2 ounces to, let's say, pints. Okay. All right, so we have the tables here. So where do we have ounces? So there's a couple places we have ounces. We have ounces here, right, to help us out, and also here. So notice we have a lot of equivalences we can actually go to when it comes to it. But, the whole point is we want to go from ounces to pints, make it much easier, just, use one equivalency instead of having to do multiple itself, right? Now, we can do two of them, actually. We could do 1 pint equals 16 ounces, or 2 pints equals 32 ounces. Now, it's the same equivalency, right, if you divide by 2, but, there's multiple ways of actually dealing with this question now, okay? So I'm going to use the first one. So 8 ounces, 1 pint equals 16 ounces. So we're going to go 10.2 ounces times, we know there's 16 ounces for every 1 pint. So that means we're going to divide, which gives us 0.6, let's say 38 ounces. And there we go. So like I said, chapter 5 is pretty straightforward. It's just, converting one to the other. So basically now is, well, all we're going to do is, look at that, going from the actual labels now, doing the exact same thing, right? It's the same process when it comes to it. So example 1 says, how much does a patient need to take if the doctor said to take 300 milligrams per cup? Oh, and actually, what I do want to do is I want to get rid of this cup stuff. So essentially, just the question now is, how much does the patient need to take if the doctor said to take 300 milligrams only? So that's it, just 300 milligrams. Okay. Now, if I look at my label here, they give us this one, right? There's 400 micrograms per milliliters, right? However, if you look at underneath that, it gives you a different equivalency. They tell you it's 0.4 milligrams per milliliter. Now, since we're starting with milligrams, I may want to, also use that equivalency itself, right? Instead of having to do an extra one here. So I'm actually going to be using this equivalency instead because we already given to milligrams themselves. Okay. So remember, this is what's given to us, right? 300 milligrams. What we want is how much the patient needs to take. So we want liquid. So in other words, milliliters. Okay. So always start with the given. So 300 milligrams. So to use our equivalency, since I want to cancel out milligrams, that has to go on the bottom, and therefore milliliters have to go on top. So 0.4 goes on the bottom, and we get that on top. Okay. And now in this case we divide. So milligrams cancel, and now we just multiply. So this should give you, I believe, 750 milliliters this patient needs to take. Okay. Right, let's do another one in the back. Example 2. It says convert the label to milligrams over ounces. Okay, so using our label here, we're told that this label has 125 milligrams over 5 milliliters, correct? Now notice, we already have half the problem, right? We want it in milligrams over ounces, so we already have it in milligrams. So essentially now the question is convert milliliters into ounces, and we're actually done. Well, going back to our portion, right? Any way we go from milliliters to ounces using our conversion factors here, right? Or equivalencies. Well, let's see. So we want milliliters to ounces. So there's a couple ways we can go about doing this. We have, the easiest one is 1 ounce equals 30 milliliters. You can also go by 8 ounces equals to 40 milliliters, right? So again, there's multiple ways you can go about this process, right? There's no right or wrong answer. You also go 16 ounces equals 500, right? Or, vice versa as well. But I'm going to use the first one. 1 ounce equals 30 milliliters, okay? So going back to a process, right? So what's we're given? So times, for every, there are 30 milliliters, right? So that's 30 or 15. Yeah, 30, sorry. 30 milliliters is equal to 1 ounce. So milliliters cancel. So 125 times 30 is 3750 milligrams over 5 times 1 is 5 ounces. And now all you're going to do is divide. So divide by 5, and we get a grand total of 750 milligrams per ounce. And that's it. Okay. So the last part of this section is also pretty straightforward. It's just being able to look at a beaker and see what the actual volume of it actually is, how high it is, and it's reading liquids itself. Now, when it comes to reading, because of gravity, right, everything's pushed down. So same thing applies in a beaker, and as you can see, the gravitational pull far better. What that means is, like, if you actually look at a beaker, it's not technically flat. It curves the water because of gravity. So gravity is actually the strongest right in the middle compared to the edges of the beaker. So when it comes to reading a water or liquid in a beaker or container, you always look at the very middle of it, and that's called the meniscus, right, or the bottom of the meniscus itself. And that's how you measure volume itself. So in this case over here, the meniscus is right here, which is approximately at 350 milliliters. That would be the volume of the liquid you have in here. Okay. So just a quick little example illustrating that here, right? So you guys can try it out real quick. So what is the reading of the liquid in this portion? Right, so go for it. So I'm pretty sure everybody agrees it's 21, 2, 3, 4. That's your meniscus. This is 24 milliliters of volume. And that's it. So that is it for chapter 5. It's a pretty straightforward one. All it is practice, practice, practice going from one to the other itself. Okay? All right, that's it for the video.